Hey everyone, welcome to my guide on how to flip in free-to-play. I know for a fact that a lot of players who are stuck in free-to-play are not utilizing the Grand Exchange to make money, and in this video I want to show you how you can effectively use the Grand Exchange to actually make money so you can save up for a bond and escape free-to-play forever. Flipping is the best free-to-play moneymaker, so if you are not sure how to actually flip, this video is a great place to start learning. Like the video if you do enjoy it, and be sure to check us out in our Discord group with the link in the description below if you'd like some additional help learning how to flip. With all that being said, this guide is going to assume you've got around 1 million GP to work with. Obviously, you can flip with more or less GP, but your GP per hour from flipping will vary depending on how much gold that you start with. This guide also assumes you are trying to progress your bank value to a point where you can sustain constant membership through bonds without ever having to play in free-to-play again. We've hopped over to the Grand Exchange with 1 mil in our inventory, but before we get into actually flipping some items here on the Grand Exchange, let's talk about the best strategy to maximize our gold making. When it comes to free-to-play, I found that the best strategy to make money is to stick to high volume items. The primary reason I recommend this is because the margins, or the difference between the buy and the sell prices of an item, tend to be quite small in free-to-play, even for items that are not traded as frequently. Finding a big margin in free-to-play will be rare unless you are flipping cosmetic unique items. So I don't recommend free-to-play players spend too much time hunting those margins, as these cosmetic items are usually expensive and not that easy to flip. In addition to flipping high volume items, if you are serious about flipping in free-to-play and trying to make it to members, you should really be flipping on 2 accounts at once. I highly suggest this because in free-to-play it is essential, as free-to-play players only have access to 3 Grand Exchange slots. If you have 2 accounts, you'll be able to access up to 6 slots, which was basically going to double your profit per hour. On top of that, it's going to let you flip higher item limits, so if you flip an item on one account and you max out the limit, you'll be able to flip on another account and also max out that limit, which again essentially is doubling your profit. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of my favorite items to flip in free-to-play that I use personally to make money when my account does not have a bond, so be sure to pay attention here and try to take some of these items away and try them for yourself. The first item we are flipping today is the deathrune, which, look, within 6 seconds has already bought. Now, the deathrunes had a 3 GP margin, so we're going to turn around and sell them for 197. The way I found this margin was I bought and sold one of the deathrunes to see how much we could buy them for at their lowest price and how much we could sell them for at their highest price. By doing that, we know that we can buy them for 194 and sell them for 197. Deathrunes are a great item to flip in free-to-play because while they are used in free-to-play, they also have a high demand in members worlds as well, but you can still flip them on free-to-play as they are technically a free-to-play item. As you can see here as well, we only allocated about 400k of our total 1 mil cash stack into the flip. It's almost imperative and essential that when you are flipping in free-to-play, you don't put all your money into one flip. You want to use every single Grand Exchange slot that you have available to you, so make sure to spread your money out along multiple trades. Another item that I was going to showcase was the grapes because they have a very high trading limit as well, but I did want to point this out. If an item that you are flipping has a 1 GP margin, I tend to skip it. That is my personal opinion. I don't really think you should waste your time trading 1 GP margins. If you check a margin and it's only 1 GP, it's probably better that you skip the item and maybe come back to it later to see if it has a 2 GP margin in the future. 1 GP is just not really worth your time. The next item that we listed were the swordfish. They are a very high demand free-to-play item, as I believe they are the best food item in free-to-play. But also on top of that, we did sell our deathrunes. You might have noticed that we only sold them for 196, and that's because the deathrunes were waiting to sell for a little bit longer than I would have liked. When I am flipping these items in free-to-play, if an item doesn't buy or sell within a 5-minute time frame, just one quantity of the item, then you might want to readjust the item. So for example, instead of trying to sell the deathrunes for 197 GP, which was the original price we thought we could sell them for, we just knocked it down to 196 GP, which means we made 2 GP for every deathrune that we flipped. Our second quantity of the blood runes has actually sold, so we're already up to 8,000 GP gained from flipping the blood runes alone in about a 5-minute time span. So we're doing really good on those. To put it in perspective, if we can make 2 GP on the death runes for every 5 minutes or so, that means that we're going to actually end up making about 96k an hour from flipping just the death runes alone. We're really just sitting here and buying and selling items back and forth, but there's other strategies that you can actually incorporate as well into your flipping. And one that I do suggest is, in between waiting for the items to buy and sell, is to alch profitable items. If you didn't know, there's actually a clan chat where you can buy items for a cheaper price and then alch them and actually end up making profit on them. I have a whole nother video that talks about it, so I'll put it in the top right corner for you guys to see. But profitable alching, in addition to flipping, is going to be like an additional 200k or so profit an hour with just the alching alone. So when you add that together with flipping across 2 accounts, it could almost upwards be like, I would say 600-700k an hour. To me, 700k an hour seems pretty solid for some free-to-play money making. If you guys actually want me to make a video on that 700k an hour strategy for free-to-play money making, let me know in the comment section below, because I can definitely make a video on that separately if you are interested. We have already flipped 10,000 death runes for a 20k profit. It's been super simple as well. We're just sitting here waiting for these items to fill and selling them back. Very easy way to make money in free-to-play. If you are new to flipping, there is something called an item limit, which is the maximum item, or the maximum amount of an item, that you are allowed to actually buy within a 4-hour period. So once we hit 20,000 death runes, we will no longer be able to buy, or actually we're just not going to be able to buy any more of them in the next 4-hour period. So we're not there quite yet, but when we get to that point, that will signal us to move on to another item. We're going to try flipping the law runes. I really like flipping the law runes, as they're one of those other items that are used in members a lot, but free-to-play have access to them as well, as they're used for a lot of teleport spells. Here is an interesting situation in free-to-play flipping that I'd like to talk about. Actually, not just free-to-play flipping alone, but flipping in general. Now, you can see that these law runes are not selling for 135, and they're not selling for 134 either, so it's possible that the margin on them actually did go down. In this situation, do not freak out. Let the law runes or the item you are trying to sell sit for a little bit longer, and the reason that is because sometimes in the short term these margins will shift a couple of GP, but it is not a big deal. Give it a couple of minutes. If the law runes, as we're speaking, of course they end up starting to sell, but if they sit for a while and they're actually not selling, just knock the offer down to your original buy price and try to exit the flip for no loss or no gain. Anyway, we're just going to flip some items back and forth for the rest of this video, and then we'll do a little summary at the end, show you what realistically your profits can look like and how much money you can expect to make per hour. Here we are at the end of our flipping session with a screenshot of all the items we flipped, some profitable and some a slight loss, but most of them just maybe 500 GP loss or really 0 GP loss. But as you can see, within an hour period, we made 209k flipping in free-to-play alone, focusing on only free-to-play items. Almost every single item I flipped in this video was on the top 100 most traded items list that is provided by Jagex, so I didn't really stray too far away from that list itself to show you guys that high volume flipping is really powerful and you should not underestimate it. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also, again, you can join us in our Discord group. There is a link in the description below for that. It's a big flipping community and we welcome everybody in there regardless of how much flipping experience they have. We're a super helpful group. Our goal is to just teach everyone how to flip in old school RuneScape and use the Grand Exchange to make some serious bank. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.